jail documentary about Shotts.
The biggest problem with prisoners, the place is full of prisoners, and every one of them is unhappy about being here. So there is a negative charge about the place all the time. It's like a virus, you can't get away from it. And you're only seconds away from somebody losing the plot.
A lot of people live in fear. I've got a lot of people in here that would love to kill me.
What's going to be is going to be. So just live for the day. I just live for this day, and I get through this day. It's a bonus.
Right, Phil, just grab a wee seat there. Did you hit the bulb on it?
Aye,
Right. Okay, doc. First time in custody?
No.
No. Life? You're doing?
Aye,
Is a life? 17?
17
Right.
to life.
Any concerns about being here?
No.
No fell out with MD or no yet? No.
I don't know anything about it.
Big questions for us. Are you suicidal?
No.
You want to hurt yourself?
No.
Right, no bother. It's an interview we do. It kind of lets us check their mental state to see if they're suicidal. Because we're an adult, long-term jail, we do have a lot of prisoners serving long sentences. You heard during the interview there, he's only a couple of weeks into a life sentence, so we've got to make sure he's not a risk to himself. Some guys, it takes a wee bit longer and to kind of sink in that they're going to be here for a long time. And 17 year sentence here isn't a big sentence here.
Robert will be placed in the National Induction Centre, or NIC. The NIC is a jail within the jail, with its own unique regime, designed for lifers and long-term prisoners just beginning their sentences. The NIC will be Robert's home for at least the next 18 months. Also in the NIC is recently convicted Kieran.
So it's definitely not a hotel. Not even an open window in here, you know? This is just a sink, maybe wash your dishes, clean your personal hygiene. Toilet in here, there's a shower. Normally the bed's made up, which is expected of us, but it's bed washing day to day.
With everything that's happened then with the sentencing, with coming in here, has that changed your sort of position on what happened on the night in question?
I think it's a misjustice. I'm not convinced on the decision.
So you still can't remember what happened that night?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the case at all.
And the sort of forensic evidence about blood on the hammer and blood on the clothes?
Like I said, I'm not really educated enough to answer questions like that. My solicitor would be the one to help me understand that. And the way I understand it is it places me on the scene. It's not 100% to convict me of the crime. So it's hard for me to answer that.
If you can't remember what happened there, how can you be sure it wasn't you?
100% sure it wasn't me, or I'd know something about it. Anything else, I can't answer that.
When you're working with the NIC, you have to put in the back of your mind what the people have been convicted of, because we cannot change the events that led them to be convicted by the court and then just treat them as individuals. A lot of them will turn to drugs. Others don't, they just withdraw into themselves and they're not wanting to talk to people, they don't want to talk about what's happened. And if they're feeling that they're innocent of the offence, they're angry, they're disappointed, and obviously there's an awful lot of emotions going on in their heads. And the coping part is what we're here to help them with, to get through the initial part, start of a sentence, and to get coping. So when they leave the NIC, their addiction issues are sorted, their mental health issues have been hopefully fixed, and they're ready to actually go back into normal circulation.
In time, Robert and Kieran will be moved out of the NIC and into the main body of the jail. But in the normal circulation of HMP Shotts, more than 200 men have been convicted of murder. HMP Shotts is Scotland's only prison exclusively for inmates serving long-term or life sentences. There are over 500 men detained here. Combined, they are serving over 4,000 years. Among them, more than 200 men convicted of murder. James is 8 years into his life sentence.
We don't come to prison to be punished. We come to prison as a punishment and for rehabilitation. But if anybody thinks that we're not getting punished in here, and this is traumatic and difficult and painful, you come and spend a weekend here and you tell me that this is wonderful. Should we be beaten twice a day? Should we be kept in darkness? Should we just be fed, I don't know, like pigs? Tell me what decent society wants to make of us.
So what's the food like in here?
I'll be as diplomatic as I can. It's reasonable. I'm sure none of them outside MD would make it for himself. They wouldn't say this is a wonderful meal and I'm going to have it and yum, yum, yum. You tend to forget about taste. It's just sustenance. But we're not here to be pampered.
James was convicted of the murder of his flatmate, a crime he says he didn't commit.
This one here is actually kind of sums up right in prison. This is just a person made up of the food you get from the canteen in here, and he's sitting just pooing out, obviously. And that there's a date of when my friend was murdered. It was the 15th of April 2009. I got up in the morning full of the joys of spring. Man United were playing in Europe that night, and so were Arsenal, and I put a bet on at the bookies that both would win, and they both did. But that slip is still sitting in the bookies. And it was also the last day I wakened up in my own bed, through no fault of my own. I was in a house, friend's house, and he was having an altercation with a girl in the room next door, which I just didn't want to hear. And after it all calmed down, she came into the kitchen with a long knife in her hand and said to me, "You say one thing, you're getting the next." The house she fled, she went, and I put Stephen into the recovery position. Waited for the police and ambulance to come, which they duly did. And I just simply said, "Listen, I came in here and found him like this." Because I couldn't tell him what happened, because she's in touch with all sorts of nasty, seriously bad people outside. So I had to say I just come in and found him. Stephen was still alive at the time, so I thought he can tell what happened. But as it was, he died later on that day.
You know, why do you say anything? Why do you tell him exactly what happened?
Because I'd have been released from prison that night, but I'd have been dead before the weekend. No question about that. I'd have been murdered. 8 years on, did I regret it? No, not at all. I'm still alive, albeit in here. I'm still alive.
At trial, the jury didn't accept James's version of events and found him guilty of murder. The judge said that he had to impose a substantial sentence.
The judge gave me a life sentence. Other people wished a death sentence on me. So I'll thank the judge for giving me a life.
James has made 2 appeals against his conviction and has failed to convince the court on each occasion. In the cell next door, there's another James with another life sentence.
This I shouldn't be doing. Smoking.
60-year-old James works as a cleaner in the visitors' room.
I come up here and I work hard. I can forget for that short period I'm in the prison. When you get a sense of freedom, well, you're seeing a big sky for a start. You're seeing distant. Whereas in the prison, downstairs and that, you're boxed in all the time. Like you've got walls coming in at you.
On the outside, James ran a small animal rescue farm with his wife.
I miss my horses, take my dogs out, that sort of thing. But up here, I can stand, I can look, I can watch the sheep. Sometimes I can see the farmer going around with his dog. I love watching dogs work, doing the sheep herding. It's brilliant to watch that. It's just nature, it's nice to look at. It's good for the soul. That's the best way of putting it.
Unlike his neighbour in the cell next door, this James does not deny that he took another man's life. In 2015, he was convicted of murdering his brother-in-law, who, newspapers said, had links to organised crime.
What do you think about the fact that another man has lost his life at your hands?
It's not a clever thing. It's nothing to be proud of or boast for or anything like that. It's wrong. But I've still got to justify it to myself that I did the right thing, even though it was the wrong thing.
James killed his brother-in-law by repeatedly striking him on the head with a log-splitting axe and a heavy fence hammer. Throughout his trial, he claimed that he had acted in self-defense.
We were cornered. Well, I was cornered. It was over and done in seconds. Killing somebody is the thing the world to do. It happens that quick and that easy. Whether you mean it or whether you don't mean it. You know, there's people in here, it's 2 seconds of madness, kill their wives or whatever. And it was easy for them to do that, but mentally and inside it would be as hard as hell and hard to live with.
Former factory worker Paul has been living with the consequences of his violence for over a decade now.
Can I take you back to being sentenced and what that was like?
I remember the judge standing up and it said 16 years. And I was like kind of wow, bang, it was like getting hit with a wrecking ball, boom. You know, it was like, that was it.
How did you deal with that?
You take drugs, didn't you? I took heroin, I took methadone, I took painkillers, took sleep tablets. Then I ended up on methadone for 8.5 years, whatever, it's nearly 9 years. End of the day, I put myself here, so I've just got to accept it and go on with it. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be punished for what I've done, so... End of the day, I'm in for murder, so... I was on night shift. I worked in Warburton's as a machine operator. I got into an altercation with one of my work colleagues. Then we had a fight. I had a wee steak knife in my locker. I put that in my pocket. I didn't intend to go out and... I can honestly say I didn't intend to go out and murder him or even starve him. I don't know, I just put it... I didn't even think twice, put it in my pocket and outside, into a fight again, and I pulled out the knife and ended up stabbing him a couple of times. Worst case scenario, I thought that I'd maybe punctured his lung or something. That's what I'd thought. I didn't know I'd stabbed him in the heart.
But why did you have a knife in?
I worked night shift, so sometimes I take my dinner into work. I think I had lamb chops the night before or something, and I took them in to my work. I'd have them later on.
Some people might struggle to believe that you had a steak knife.
Well, look, I've been in 10 years now. I tell you, what have I got to lie about? I'm admitting what I've done was wrong. I deserve to be here.
When people look at Paul, they see a criminal. When I look at Paul, I see a son. In a lot of ways, I feel that my role as a mother is suspended since he's been in. That's what it feels like to me, that I've lost a son. And, you know, I mean, people may say, well, it's his own fault, but it's not my fault. He may well have deserved what he got, but, you know, at the end of the day, a man has lost his life, and that's a terrible thing. Life is very precious. That can never change, you know, for anybody. So I was really quite distressed. But even now, looking back, people would say, you know, remember this and that, and I can't remember anything.
Shite, man, they've got to do the sentence with you, innit? But somebody is dead.
I just had to break down completely. And just, you're not really aware of it when you're in it.
During his 10 years in prison, Paul has completed a series of psychological courses designed to address his offending behaviour and help prove to the parole board that he has changed. But not every lifer chooses to take part in these courses.
You're never going to do
For
it
me
then.
to be considered for parole or even moving on through the system, I have to do what the prison considers as appropriate courses, mainly to help deal with the crime that I've committed. Now, as I haven't committed any crime, what course could possibly be appropriate? So I'll stay in here for as long as it takes.
James's refusal to engage in the courses could mean that he will never get out of jail.
Is there not a point though when you just say, right, I just want to get out, so I'll do whatever it takes?
Never. If I had to do that, that person to get out of that gate, I would fucking hate him for being such a cowardly piece of shit just to get his own freedom. My life would be over anyway as soon as I went down that road. As soon as I'd agreed to be a liar just to get here, the person I am dies. So I live on in here.
If you're actual innocent, that's heavy, that's deep, mate. You look Mitchell stand refusing to admit guilt for freedom. Fucking right, if they're not that time, you may as well just keep writing it out.
Into a life sentence.
If that's how you feel.
It's like being dead, but you're still alive. I had a life outside. I had my family, and being separated from them, that's the hardest part for me. Just being locked up away from them.
James calls his wife at least twice a day.
When things happen outside, you want to go and sort them, but you can't go out and sort them. I mean, my wife, she struggles. She's got heart disease, she's got emphysema. You know, before I come in here, I used to help her put on her socks, put her trousers on and such like. Now she's got to do it herself. Yes, I am. So how you getting on? It's harder for your family than it is for you, because they've still got all the burdens of life out there. Somebody didn't buy in here. Right, I'll phone you back tonight, okay? I can speak to you about it. 6:30. There's some idiot kicking off as usual. Right. I love you loads.
Yeah, they're all going mad, somebody's
James
banging.
claims that the brutal killing of his brother-in-law was self-defense. Along with his conviction for murder, he was also charged with attempting to defeat the ends of justice.
Why did you feel like you had to hide the body?
Well, the police arrested me, locked me up. And that would have left my life there. My wife would have been dead that night. They would have killed her.
Did you think you were going to get away with it though?
Oh no, I'm never going to get away with it. I'd already written a letter to them, telling them. And I'd already admitted to it, but I was waiting until I got the wife out the way first. And I told them the full story.
The judge said that hog-tying his victim's body and burying him in a makeshift grave was a dreadful way to treat a fellow human being.
Aye, that's rat chaff humor years.
Killer, no murder.
What's the difference?
Well, I killed a man. I had reasons. As far as I'm concerned, you can't really say justifiable, but
Can I say it's self-defense if you hog-tied them and buried them?
I hadn't really a choice in the matter. There's a murderer to me, somebody that actually goes out to kill deliberately. Wants to take a life for just pure nastiness.
Do you think you're capable of that level of violence again?
No, that was just... This was a survival thing.
Paul stabbed a work colleague in a fight outside a factory. In his sentencing statement, the judge said that Paul went to get a knife before he went outside, knowing he was going to have a fight.
You ever had road rage? Aye. No, I know that, but it must have been, you've had situations in your life you thought,
Road
kind of lost it there.
I got angry.
Aye.
Well, lots of people get into fights and they don't pull out knives, you know?
No, I know that, but you get in a fight and punch somebody and kill them. They fire bang their head and hang me. It's happened.
A knife can do a lot more damage.
Knives can do a lot more damage. Of course they can. But what I'm trying to say, I'm not justifying what I done. I'm responsible for what I done, but I didn't walk about carrying a knife. That knife was in, you understand? Not that I used to walk about and carry. I never carried a knife in my life.
You did put it in your pocket.
I did, but I'm told you I'm responsible for everything else. Of course I'm wrong. What I did was wrong, and of course I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Totally in the wrong what I done. Everybody's capable of murder, Matt. Everybody. You can murder somebody. Jane can murder somebody. Paul can murder somebody. It's quite easy to happen. It's the easiest thing in the world to do.
It's not though, is it? It's not. And even if you could commit it, you don't feel good about it afterwards. You would have guilt for life, man.
Because the life had been lost.
Do you blame yourselves?
I think the guilt, in a situation like this, guilt comes into it. You know, every person, there's something I've done wrong, and that can play a big part of it can destroy you if you take the guilt process, you know. But I think you've got to be happy with your conscience if you've done your best. And I think in our situation, I think Paul knows we did our best, because that's his testimony. He said he had really good parents, so.
If I didn't have God in my life, I wouldn't have coped. I know I wouldn't have. And that's what I think is really sad. There's a lot of families out there that don't have, you know, the faith and the support that I've got.
You need something to get you through the storm, you know.
and it certainly helped me and helped Vicky, my wife, and it helped Paul through the storm.
I mean, is that about wanting forgiveness from someone who is always going to forgive?
I know that I can be forgiven for the things I've done in my life. I'm still responsible, but I'm be forgiven. No, it doesn't mean what I've done. I have to pay the price for the right things I've done, and I'm punished for the things I've done. But at the end of the day, my faith tells me that Jesus died on the cross. He died on the cross for reason being for my sins.
Does that let you off the hook?
No, it doesn't let me off the hook. No, because how does it let me off the hook? I'm in prison, ain't I? I'm being punished for what I've done. If you make mistakes and do things wrong, you'll be punished. Some people might think, oh, he's just turning to God because he's trying to get out of prison and everything else. Other people think you're a crackpot. Your faith gives you hope. So hope's a good thing.
If a lifer is to have any hope of being released from prison, he will have to prove to the parole board that he is no longer a risk to the community. A major part of this process is spending the last few years of their sentence being tested in more open conditions. For some prisoners, after years of being locked up, this is the hardest part of doing time. "50-year-old Tam has spent 34 years behind bars.
When I first came into jail, believe it or not, there was only 3 TV stations. I remember the first programme that came on Channel 4, and it was Countdown, Richard Whiteley and Carol Vorderman, 1982.
You were in jail since?
I was in jail then, yep. This is me opening my door. Let's go.
Tam is serving the end of his current sentence at HMP Castle Huntley, Scotland's only
man.
Let's go then. Out this door we go. We'll go up to the estates. Nice day, innit? There's no fences, there's no walls, there's no nothing. What they have got is little areas saying out of bounds to prisoners. That's all they've got. It's just relaxed, very, very relaxed. I mean, it is a change. It's a change for closed jails, and it takes a bit of getting used to. Have you been to the castle? That's where all the governors sit. They sit up there, all your managers. That's where the tribunals are held. People are here to try and get out at the end of the day, to try and go home, see their loved ones or whatever, but I think some of them have got to remember what it is they've done in the past. Some of them don't want to remember.
Where do you stand on that? What do you think about it?
I think about what happened, of course I did.
In 1987, when he was 20, Tam was convicted of the murder of an elderly man.
I got out in 2002 and I assaulted my brother. I got another sentence, but that's done me now. I can't change the past. Just got to get on with it. It's time to just give it up, start afresh. That's it.
Tam has fully engaged in the progression process and completed all the courses set for him by the Scottish Prison Service.
So you want to progress?
Oh, absolutely, mate. I mean, I had came in jail at a young age, and I could basically say that the SPS has been my mum and dad for 30 odd years. And the bad parents that they are. I want out. I am determined to get out that door. Who wants to do this for the rest of their days? You need to be nuts to do this for the rest of your days. I'm just getting too old for it. It's time that I called it a day. Reach for the stars.
Part of his progression towards release, Tam has applied for a week-long home leave.
Letter for Tam. My letter, oh yes.
On the 2 previous occasions that Tam was released on life license, he reoffended and was sent straight back to jail within days of getting out. Today, after 10 weeks of being assessed for his risk to the community, he'll find out if his request has been granted.
Community access granted, get in there, good. So that's good, I've got full access. Got it at last. Brilliant, eh? Going home. The letter says I can go home.
HMP Castle Huntly. Most men convicted of murder in Scotland will come here to finish their sentence. They'll be assessed for their risk of reoffending and gradually be reintroduced back into the community. Today, Tam is getting ready for his first home leave.
I love iron. Some guys in here like iron and some don't because they've got their wee mamas to do it for them. Spoiled little shits.
Because of his repeat offending,
I'm man in this spoiled little shits, I don't like iron.
for over 3 decades.
See that? You get the line down like that, you know that you're doing a grand job of that, mate. I'm telling you. That's something your mum will teach you. That's a jail thing, that. See, when back in the day when you had to iron your BEDs, your best dress, they called it, you had to iron them right, mate, eh? And if there was one fault in them, mate, the governor would just take them away, fling them up in the air, give you 7 days recreational loss and tell you to do it again. Those were the days, mate. Hard days, but fair. There you go. And all use mummy's boys. That's how it's done. You keep it up, lads.
The last time Tam was released from jail, he broke his license conditions and faced another long spell in prison.
Cracking day prison.
Brilliant day. Lads was even hotter. As long as I don't break the curfew rules or break any licence conditions, I'll be dinky do, I'll be fine, mate. And I will be fine because I'll make sure that I won't break any.
What happens if you fail this test?
If I fail this test, I'd go back to closed conditions. I don't even want to think about going back to closed conditions. It's a shithole.
To get to the castle and out of closed conditions, lifers need to complete a series of courses and assessments designed to address their offending behaviour. They call it progression.
Can I have a quick chat with you, please?
You can't.
Throughout his sentence for murder, James has maintained his innocence. Unlike Tam, he's refused to take part in any progression courses.
Silly man, but if he is innocent, it's a fight, innit?
Come down and speak to you about the progression.
I don't think there's any course which you could offer me which would be of any relevance. I'm maintaining my innocence. If I've not committed a crime, I don't understand why I should have to talk about something which didn't happen. In no way will I ever compromise with the truth. And the truth is that I will maintain my innocence.
And I would never ask you to do that. If you're maintaining your innocence, that's your right. But it could end up that you get a psychology risk assessment carried out, which would be a more in-depth assessment, and it could help you progress.
Obviously, it's going to take some time to sink in because I've spent the last many years accepting the fact that I will be in prison for the rest of my life. So I've actually, the outside world I've cut it out totally.
If James can pass this psychological assessment, he may be allowed to progress towards the castle and release.
There is the danger I'm sitting saying, no, do you know something, I just want to stay here. It's a whole new load of problems and hurdles. And it's not even my problems, it was society's problems with me. They would say, he is this, he is that. He's got the potential to do that again.
But how can you not be desperate to get out then?
I never said I wasn't desperate to get out. But I'm realistic about what I'm getting out to. You know where you are in here. You know exactly where the boundaries are in here. If you go out there, you're cannon fodder.
Not that bad, fuck's sake, cannon fodder.
I got shouted once into an office and was told, you're the longest serving inmate in here. See, when you're told you're the longest serving inmate in a prison in the entire population of that jail, that's when you know enough's enough. You just want to call it a day.
But what's your secret though? I mean, how do you stay so positive?
Believe me, there's been times where I've wanted to scream and shout and smash the place up. I had one incident where I stabbed myself in the neck because I was depressed and that, and then I went to my bed and fell asleep. I lost quite a lot of blood. The prison officer that found me freaked out. For guys to say that it doesn't bother them, they're lying, because it does bother them. It bothers me.
So how old will you be when you come to the end of your term?
If I serve my full time, I'll be 76.
Are you worried about what you'll be like?
Me? I don't think I'll make it, to be honest, but with my health problems, if I do get to that age, I'm not know nothing about it. I've just got to try and make the best of it.
Paul has at least 6 years before he is eligible for parole. If he continues to cooperate, he could be at the castle in 4. For now, the only contact he has with the outside world is through letters, phone calls, and visits.
How do you think you've adjusted, Paul?
I think when you first come in, the futures seems non-existent, doesn't it? So
Right.
I turned to drugs and I took drugs, and that's how I got through my part of my early sentence.
The longer this goes on, time goes down there. We come to the end of the story as quick as possible.
Will they let you know beforehand what's going to happen? Or?
Nah, I don't even see it. I don't even think about it.
There'll be something to work towards, isn't it? Something to
Aye,
work
but
towards.
something to look forward to, aye, but I take my day at a time, and that's the way I live. That's the way I do it. I don't even think about that far ahead. I don't even think about something that's not already happened yet.
Jail mentality. Get it, look forward to it, man.
Prison's changed, Paul.
I don't think it's made him worse. Certainly it hasn't made him a worse person. It's not,
What do
Billy.
you think? I think I'll get a better hand on Paul when he leaves because he's in a controlled environment. But I'm sure it has changed him, I'm sure. I mean, you could get in there and no change. Whether it's for the better, I don't know. It's a hard one to call.
You just have to accept it. You have to accept what you've done. And then once you can accept it, because you can be in denial, no in denial. There's some people here say they're innocent. Yeah, but they're innocent. I don't know who am I to say they're innocent or no, I don't know. But for me, I'm guilty.
I have to accept the situation and live in the hope that one day the right thing will be done.
And it isn't a
You
defense
hope they'll let you progress.
that night away in your head somewhere and just telling yourself you didn't do it.
No? What would be the point of that?
Well, it's difficult, I'm just saying if you did do it, it's a difficult thing to deal with. The fact that you killed someone.
Well, that's something you'd have to ask somebody that's killed someone. I'm afraid you're asking a completely and utter rhetorical question because if I've no murdered someone, I don't know what your answer you want because I can't answer that.
What would you say to your victims' families?
I'd say I'm sincerely sorry for what I've done. I'm sorry for putting you through that hell and taking away your dad, your son, your brother, to the victim's family. If I could turn back the clock, I would. Did I intentionally go out to get... No, I didn't.
But I was...
Well, that was interesting. I hardly spoke through it because cunts have been moaning in the comments about me talking. But what do you think? Tell me what you actually think of that one. That was mad.